It's my all-time favorite superhero facing against my all-time favorite monster. What can I say? Just like the last video, this is going to be a little condensed. So, Batman Full Moon, written by Ronnie Barnes, whom many will know for the amazing vampire series Philadelphia and its many spin-offs, my personal favorite being Nightmare Blogs. Now, we've seen him handle vampires and demons, but how does he handle werewolves along with the Dark Knight? Well, let's dive into Batman Full Moon and find out. Warning, spoilers. Our story begins at Wayne Pharmaceuticals, which is currently the home of a brutal massacre. Batman and Gordon investigate, and Batman quickly discovers that whoever did this was incredibly strong and had claws strong enough to tear human flesh apart. As Batman and the GCPD investigate and try to find the perpetrator, they eventually come face to face with a mysterious creature. Batman tries to reason with it, but unfortunately, it's more beast than man, and Bruce is forced to fight it. And yeah, he's not doing so great, ending with him getting scratched and bit. But Batman's able to get a DNA sample and see that whoever this is does in fact have wolf DNA, and it's not some sort of trick. Barnes in here writes Batman as not exactly a skeptic, but someone who is willing to look through all the possibilities. Yes, he knows magic is very much a thing, but given he's faced off against foes who can do things that just seem like magic, he always wants to be sure. As he comes back to the crime scene and discovers that whoever this is was trying to restrain themselves, but gets the full story from Dr. Kirk Langstrom, aka the Man-Bat, who reveals to Batman that he knows who the werewolf is. His name was Christian Talbot, and if that last name sounds familiar, that's because it's a reference to Larry Talbot, aka the Universal Wolfman. Yeah, this story is an unofficial crossover. I'll get more into that when I talk about characters, but Christian does share similar traits from Larry, though his backstory is pretty different. He was a soldier that was attacked by a Lycan some time ago, and by the time that he came home, it was too late. He transformed and attacked his whole family. He came to Gotham seeking help from Kirk Langstrom since, well, he turns to a Wolfman, and Kirk Langstrom transforms into a giant bat creature. He thought maybe he could figure out a way to either cure him or keep the monster at bay. They try to keep him restrained for everyone's safety. Unfortunately, they underestimate how strong the werewolf is, and well, you saw. As for Christian Talbot, he is found by a group of homeless people who take him to a church where he does find some friends and do hope to help him. Meanwhile, Batman seeks the help of two magical experts, the magician Zatanna and John Constantine. Yes, Constantine, not Constantine. But things get complicated as, well, remember when I said Batman got bit and scratched? Well, if you know your lycanthropy, one of the ways to become a werewolf is to get bitten or scratched, and yeah. Can Batman fight off the werewolf curse while also trying to help Christian Talbot? Can Talbot control his werewolf form? And will Zatanna, Constantine, and Langstrom be able to work together to help Batman out? Well, you're just gonna have to read to find out. This is a pretty fun comic with great action and gore, and because this was in DC Black Label, nothing had to be censored, so Ronnie Barnes got to really stretch his horror legs here. The way he depicts werewolves here is very similar to, of course, a classic Wolfman film, but also a little bit of American Werewolf in London, which I dig. That's my favorite werewolf movie, with how vicious the werewolves are, and even the design. If I had any complaint, I would say that it has to be the relationship between Bruce and Zatanna. Ronnie tries to put some romance in here by giving Bruce and Zatanna a relationship, and though he's not the first person to do that, a lot of writers have paired Bruce and Zatanna, this just felt a little forced. I really didn't feel any romantic chemistry, but that might just be me. Besides that, I really dug the story. I think Barnes had a pretty solid voice for Batman, which is a good jumping on point for characters. Batman was pretty solid here. As I said before, he's not a full-on skeptic, but he's also not quick to jump to the immediate answer. But once he knows what he's dealing with, he then proceeds to try multiple options to deal with it. Yeah, of course he goes to Zatanna and Constantine because the threat is magical, but he also does stick to science since there are some scientific ways they can deal with this. But we're not just dealing with Batman, we're also dealing with a Batman who eventually gets the werewolf curse, and I'll say that, yeah, Batman here, when infected, he is struggling to keep it together, as now he's dealing with a curse that's slowly driving him mad, just as it did Talbot. Speaking of Talbot, Talbot's a pretty good character in here. You really do see the tragedy within him as he is trying his best not to hurt anyone and just get his life back. Again, very much like Larry Talbot from the Universal films, who was an innocent soul who just wanted to get his frickin' life back. Though, unlike Larry, you do get the sense that Christian is slowly enjoying it, which does make you wonder whether he'll be more of an ally or an enemy. Again, Barnes really knows how to write the werewolf curse as, well, a curse. Yeah, it kicks ass, you can turn into a giant monster, but you don't have control over yourself. You lose your autonomy, and you're forced to bend to the will of a primal instinct to hurt, even when it's people who care about you. Now, because again, I have to condense this, I'm going to talk about the supporting characters all at once. They're all pretty cool, though I will say that that Langstrom is a little weird in some areas. Like, I don't know, I just feel like he's a little bit too stoic compared to how he usually is in the comics. Constantine is the smug bastard we all know and love, and Zatanna is also pretty close to how she usually is. She's very upbeat, very charismatic, with some flirtation, but when it's time to get to work, she really takes it seriously and takes charge, and is pretty much leader when Bruce isn't around. Now, as for Talbot's friends, along with Alfred and Gordon, they're all pretty cool characters, but there's not really much I could say about them, especially with Talbot's friends, because, well, that goes to spoiler territory, but they are nicely written, and I didn't really have a problem with any of them. The art was done by Steven Sobick, who a lot of people will know for Riddler Year 1, though I'm not gonna lie, I honestly thought the art was done by Andre Sorrentino when I first read this, because they both have very similar styles, with this almost rotoscope drawing style with how the characters look. Even how it's colored is very similar, but there are some key differences. Now, Sobick tends to exaggerate certain proportions a bit more. Not to the point where it's super distracting, but it's noticeable. His artwork is pretty good, especially when it comes to the more horrifying elements, and some of the more out there scenes, you could tell he really gave it his all. On a whole, Batman Full Moon is a fun, unofficial crossover with a horror classic. It's a quick read, it's only 4 issues, but never feels rushed. If you're interested in a really cool werewolf story featuring The Dark Knight, I recommend checking it out. Thanks for watching. Like, share, subscribe, hit the notification bell for updates, and follow me on Blue Sky. Next time, we wrap up this spooky season and wrap up Batman: The Last Halloween. Later.